What's up, y'all? It's your girl, El Rochelle, here with Harwood Divas. Sports news of the week for the week of January 3rd, 2014. Yeah, it's 2014, y'all. This is crazy. So I know it's been a couple weeks since I've had our sports news segment, but it's kind of been hectic with the holidays and all that. So please forgive me, but I did want to come back to you and make sure that I got you started off right because it has been a very, very intriguing week in the sports world. So first, we're going to go with the 2013 NFL regular season is over. Playoff schedules are set. If you need that, go ahead and check hardwooddiva.com. We've got the information on those beginning tomorrow. But of course, with the end of football season comes the dreaded Black Monday, day when many coaches are relieved of their duties. This year, we had 5 coaches that were actually fired on Monday. 6 coaches altogether lost their jobs this year. Gary Kubiak, of course, lost his back in December, early December. But on Monday, a few more coaches were said adios to. Well, technically one was Sunday night, which was Chudzinski, who actually lost his job as the head coach of the Browns. He'd only been in the position for a year. Many thought that he was kind of a backup, a replacement for someone that they wanted a lot more. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get him. So they decided to, hey, if we're not doing well, we're going to kick this guy to the curb. It really kind of sucks because he seemed to really enjoy his job. So now, of course, they're going to have to pick someone. The players weren't really excited. Of course, the players see this and they're kind of like, this isn't an organization that really seems stable. They're continuing to have turnover. Coaches leaving left and right. GMs leaving left and right. Owners leaving left and right. So they really need to see some stability. So this next hire, I think, is probably one of the most important for the Browns. Let's see. Who else was adios this week? We had Gary Shiano in Tampa Bay. I'm like trying to remember all these people because they were like unceremoniously. Shanahan. Good old Shanny. Shanny was let go with the Redskins. That's going to be a very interesting job because it kind of seems that the stuff that's come out about RG3, Dan Snyder's relationship with him, Dan Snyder just in general in relation to the rest of the organization. This may not be a team that people really do want to go to. So we'll see. Detroit, they adios their dude. But this week also saw quite a couple of those coaching positions get filled. The Texans hired former Penn State head coach Bill O'Brien, who had been in Penn State, kind of following up with the Paterno situation for the last 2 years. And then Tampa Bay picked up Lovie Smith, which a lot of people thought was a great pickup for them because they definitely need some stability to their organization after this past year. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited. It seems like the team's excited in Tampa Bay to see Lovie Smith. So can't wait to see it. It should be very interesting going forward. We've had more football. Kids have told us that they were leaving. Jadeveon Clowney, surprise, is heading to the NFL this year. We're still waiting to hear on a couple of others. Mainly Money Manziel, Johnny Football. We'll see what happens with him. But this was also the week of the bowl games, of course. So we had the Rose Bowl, which pitted Michigan State up against Stanford. Stanford won last year in their Rose Bowl appearance. Michigan State hadn't been to the Rose Bowl in a while, and they took it to Stanford. It wasn't an expected win. Many people expected for the Pac-12 champs to go ahead and take them down, but they were unable to do so. So yeah, it's kind of been a crazy game. Last night's Sugar Bowl was amazing. Watching Oklahoma clobber Alabama, and even Nick Saban seemed to see that kind of what one of those things is that this team has been, the Alabama team, 3 national championships appearances in 4 years. They're not really used to having to get up really for a game and it not be the main game. So I think they were a little let down, and they were a letdown to watch. It was not a pretty game for them. A.J. McCarron did not do very well in his last appearance in college football, as he is a senior. But Oklahoma, they did their job. I personally don't think that takes away from their ineptitude over the last few years, because it's been a while since they've like really been in a game and actually done well and not lost in like some crazy way. So personally, I'm happy to see it, but let's be real, like they haven't been very good for a while. They get in like the top 15 and then just kind of settle and don't really do anything major. So whatever. Good luck to them. Orange Bowl is tonight. Definitely looking forward to the BCS National Championship, which will be our last BCS National Championship because next year we're having an actual playoff. So excited. But yeah, the BCS National Championship, pitting Florida State versus Auburn. I'm making my pick. My pick is Florida State. I like Jameis Winston. I just think this team's firepower is awesome. It's amazing. Auburn's come very close to losing a few times, have lost. So I'm just not. Florida State hasn't lost all year, and they haven't come close to losing really all year. So I don't think this will be that time where they do. Going with Florida State. That's my pick. Basketball's been awesome. Portland Trailblazers are definitely proving to be a team, that they're a team to be reckoned with, knocking off the Miami Heat. They're kind of fighting up there with Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs for that top spot in the Western Conference. And one day one will lose, the other day two others will lose. And, you know, it's just kind of all over the place. But I'm definitely excited. Golden State Warriors knocked off the Heat at Miami last night. That's awesome. Get ready for those nickname games. That's coming up, I believe it's next week. So get really excited. That should be interesting. The Miami Heat versus the Brooklyn Nets, and they're going to have their nicknames on their jerseys, all that fun stuff. I want a nickname jersey. I need a jersey that says Hardwood Deep on the back. Somebody get on that for me. So now, my fair or foul question. It actually comes from a report or an article from Chris Kluwe, the former punter for the Vikings. He's been outspoken for gay marriage rights, equality rights. And in the season before, the 2012 season, he was very outspoken. It was a huge deal. He and Brandon Badagio were very outspoken. And Chris Kluwe, at the time, people asked when he was let go in 2013 at the end of the season if he thought it was because of his outspokenness. He said he didn't believe so, or didn't know. Now he says he definitely believes that's what happened, and he kind of went through this whole list of things and issues with his special teams coach and da-da-da-da. Okay, said he was fired by two cowards and a bigot. Bigot was the special teams coach who he said riddles him with gay slurs on a regular basis, and the two cowards were the head coach and the GM. So, here's my take on this. What I'm saying, what I have for fair or foul. Fair or foul that he was fired for what he says he was fired for. Is it okay? Is it wrong? Whatever. Okay. Here's my take on this. Political beliefs, religious beliefs, and this is an intertwined situation here with gay marriage rights. There's always a reason people say to leave them out of the workplace. It's never a great issue. Now, I believe he was more fired for the distraction he was causing, not because of his beliefs in the sense, but because he was a punter and was distracting people. Like, nobody cares about the punter. If this was Adrian Peterson was very outspoken against gay rights. And he was a distraction. And honestly, let's be real, at this time in our country, being outspoken against something like that gets you a lot of backlash. A lot of backlash. So, for him to not have been let go at the end of the season for his distraction and his beliefs, I think it just lets you know more of what the issue is. And I do believe Chris Kluwe knows what the issue is too. So, I say in a sense it's fair that not for he was fired for his beliefs, because I don't believe that's what it is. He was fired because he was distraction. You're a punter and you're getting more attention than, you know, Adrian Peterson, who was having a monster season at the time. People are calling to talk to you specifically. And as much as you try and say you're separated as a Minnesota Viking from your personal life, you're not, because you are in the public eye. And every time someone mentions you on a radio station, it's Minnesota Viking punter Chris Kluwe. It's not Chris Kluwe, just this random dude. So in that sense, yes, it makes sense. They didn't have time. You're very replaceable. Punters aren't even on fantasy football. Dog, like nobody cares. You weren't doing that well. You say your averages didn't change. You're like a punter. Like, it's not really that big a deal. Like, nobody cared. And they figured they could find someone else. Do I believe what he says happened? I believe to an extent, yes. Football is very chauvinistic, very masculine and manly, and that kind of gay marriage idea kind of goes against some of those beliefs. So I don't doubt that your coach might have said the things he said in jest or whatever. I don't like that you called someone a coward because you feel like they were trying to save their job, because you say in your article that you didn't want to say anything to jeopardize your position and your job. You did the same thing that they did. So calling someone a coward for doing the exact same thing that you did, but trying to make yourself out to be some heroic figure for not, for standing up for others. Let's be real, bruh. You was trying to save face, and when they didn't, because if they wouldn't have fired you, you would have said nothing about what happened. Let's be real. So, those are my things for the week, y'all. My sports news. Let me know what you think. If you have anything you want me to discuss, holla at your girl in the comments. Head over to hardwooddiva.com and get more of your sports news for the week. Love y'all. Deuces.